On today's episode of Let's Talk Drones, we are out in the field to conduct the first of a series of reviews and tests on the Potensic Atom, a mini drone that is an alternative to some of the other bigger box brands you may be familiar with. I'm really excited to review this drone. When it first hit shelves, I really wanted to get my hands on it, but better late than never, so let's talk drones. What's up? It's Chris, the Drone Geek, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Drones. Let's Talk Drones is brought to you by The Droning Company. Make sure you check them out online at thedroningcompany.com across all major social media platforms, and make sure you get subscribed to their YouTube channel. Lots of great drone content there, as well as some other stuff that myself, Sam Karp, and Tim Brazel all work on for The Droning Company. Check them out online at thedroningcompany.com and across all major social media platforms. Yes, we are starting the review process on the Potensic Atom today. Video number one, this video, is going to be looking at the flight characteristics of this drone. So we're going to be looking at how the drone holds position in the air, how reliable its flight modes are, and some of its intelligent flight modes as well, and just taking a look at what this drone has to offer. Before I get into that though, I do want to share some just on-paper specs with you when it comes to this drone overall so that you can prepare yourself for the next few videos where we actually see how it stacks up. With all of that in mind, I'm really excited about this drone. Potensic has been on my radar for quite a while now since they came out with the Atom drone. I really wanted to review it back when it first released, but like I said, better late than never, so let's get this thing in the air. While this is a review of the Potensic Atom and its capabilities in flight for video number one, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about something else we're using in today's video. This is a weighted landing pad from HOODMAN. HOODMAN makes a variety of drone pilot accessories, namely their landing pads. Super reliable, and I really like this one because, first of all, it's not crazy to fold up like some of the other landing pads there are out there. It's super easy, just a tri-fold fold up, and I also like it because it is weighted, so when I drop this on the ground, it's just gonna fall. And you can hear it made pretty loud noise there. It's gonna be great for using in the field, especially in grassy areas like I'm in now, because a smaller drone like the Potensic sometimes has trouble when it comes to launching and landing from challenging environments such as higher grass. So we're gonna be using this to launch and land the Potensic Atom. Really excited about it and very thankful for the folks over at HOODMAN that sent this pad over. There's a link down in the description below. It is not an affiliate link, just a link to this particular product if you are interested in it. Let's get to it. Okay, so we do have the Potensic Atom in the air. As you can see, we have a tractor that is tending to this sod farm here. And we are looking at just flight performance overall. So a few of the things I'm gonna be doing is just sort of playing around with the joysticks on this, see how it does in flight. And we're gonna put it up to around 400 feet. We are in Class G airspace here, so that should be fine, as long as there's no air traffic that comes through, but I'll keep an eye on that. We also have to keep it within line of sight. I know that there have been some folks that are asking for more range tests in the future. Yeah, that's not gonna happen anymore. We're not doing range tests anymore. Just not a tiger I wanna poke necessarily. So yeah, we will just be looking at the overall flight performance, line of sight, and if we can figure out how to finagle a range test without breaking any rules, we will do that in the future as well. So I do have this out around 430 feet, 339 feet, I'm sorry, away from where we started. We're at about 100 feet altitude here. You can see the beautiful landscape. Excuse my not, now that's an issue right there. Excuse my not being very gentle and ginger and gradual with some of these pans. I'm really not here to grab artistic shots. I'm just here really to, you know, show you how the drone flies itself. But the issue that I'm seeing right now is a really bad artifacting, and artifacting might be even a light term for that. It's like the screen goes smudged the whole way across.
Hey, Future Chris here, breaking in to let you know that after this shoot, I got back to the editing room and realized that the phone that I was using to control the Potensic Atom through its dedicated controller wasn't able to successfully save the screen recording that I was doing while we were flying the drone. So I lost all of that footage. So when it comes to referencing the footage from the actual HUD of the drone while it was flying, I can't show you any of the things I'm talking about there. So I apologize in advance when I reference points throughout the video that you can only see when you're looking at the HUD. Just try to bear with me, and hopefully next time it goes a little bit smoother for me and I can actually show you what it looks like while it's flying in a different part of the testing sequence. Regardless of all of that, I wanted to break in and show you a successful screen grab of the issue that I keep citing here at the beginning of the video. The artifacting, the smearing, and just the overall latency and disconnect in the feed from the drone to the controller while in flight. So you'll see here from a different shoot that I did with Sam Karp for the droning company about the Potensic Atom, there's some definite artifacting, and that's the word I'm going to use because it most aptly describes the problem, but it's severe artifacting in that you'll lose entire chunks of your screen, not just little tiny pixelations here and there. It's really bad to the point that it almost disconnects entirely. The latency is terrible, and the smearing on it is just god-awful. You want to be mindful of this before purchasing this drone. It can have some pretty dire consequences. At best, it'll make your flight very inconvenient. At worst, you may lose your drone because the situational awareness and vision that you have through that feed is somewhat unreliable. So keep that in mind. I'm going to make reference to this issue a few more times throughout the course of this video. I want to apologize for not being able to show you the footage in real time while I'm referencing the issues, but I did want to at least take the time here to tell you about this issue and show you what it looks like so you know what I'm talking about as we continue on with this test. Let's get back to it.
But it's still rather unacceptable in flight because there could be issues with that. So we'll just keep an eye on that. We are at about 250 feet. You can see us down there, 282. I'm gonna push this right up to 400, see how it does, how it holds position. And whether or not we have any issues at a higher altitude. It's a pretty mild day today, beautiful really. It's around 75 degrees and not really a breeze to speak of. It's a pretty nice day out, especially for flying drones. So you see here we are approaching the maximum height. The drone caps you at 392 feet, so that's where we're gonna stay. I'm sure there's a setting to turn that off. I didn't really explore that too much, to be honest with you. So good to know though, you can't really break the rules unintentionally. So definitely something to note right out of gate. There would be a setting you'd have to flip, or maybe not, we'll have to see. I will say, despite the fact it's hard to tell because of the artifacting that's happening here, the drone seems to be handling just fine. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead, because we're having these issues, it seems to be doing okay, holding position up top. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down. This might be treacherous because like I said, I'm losing an incredible amount of frames as I'm landing, and there's some wires, some telephone wires behind the camera here I need to contend with. So, coming down, we are clear of the wires, it looks like. It's coming down at a good clip. As far as holding its, balance, its attitude in the airspace, even coming down, which is a rough move on the drone having to fight its own prop wash coming downward. It seems to be doing okay. Yeah, the handling's actually not bad. Flying around here and actually being a little bit closer seems to have cured the issue with the stutter in the footage. Yeah, that's a real artsy fartsy shot, minus the abrupt stop at the end. So we're getting out. I can see there's a little bit of stutter in the feed still. We're at about 250 feet. It's about where it started to pick up, maybe closer to like 200 feet. Yeah, that's nuts. That should not be doing that. I can see the drone from here. And it's a small drone, like I said, so this should be pretty much set in terms of the signal. I'm gonna just reorient the antenna. Is there maybe a better way to do this? I don't think so. Let's see if that maybe does it. Yeah, I mean, overall handling isn't really that bad. It's quiet, like mad quiet. Let's bring it in close here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, it's relatively quiet. I mean, I'm sure with the magic of audio restoration and AI out there, I'll be able to fix this audio up so you can't see it. But just as a comparison, here it is without any type of audio enhancement or cleanup. And here it is with audio enhancement and cleanup. So gives you an idea of what this is capable of and how loud it is. It might be a good drone for a vlogger, for instance. I'm not saying this would be the prime application of it, but you certainly could maybe use it as a selfie stick, like a camera that's on a tripod. Because the propellers are so quiet, it may not be an issue. But you can see here, it's responsive. I mean, I'm happy with how it flies. Like everything about the flight is rock solid, and it stops pretty well on a dime. I don't want to get too playful with it going forward. I've got my brand new Sony FX30 sitting on the tripod there, so not really a bill I want to pay right out of gate, but yeah, I mean, orbit, not bad. Orbit back the other way, also not bad. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not hating the flight. The flight itself is actually really good. Let's go ahead and let's see how maneuverable it is down low. We'll go into some obstacles down here. We've already got a little bit of a stutter on the camera feed. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty clear. We do have some branches here I want to be cognizant of. And this does not have 360 obstacle avoidance on it at all. So that's something else we want to be mindful of here. Got a bug on my arm. Hold on. Before that like embeds in my skin and lays eggs. Ugh. Yeah, it's not... Flight characteristics are not bad on this. I do need to be careful. I don't want to go too far forward there. I'm going to turn to give this more of a connection to the antenna. So sorry, I got my back to the camera. I'm going to go punch straight up here as soon as I get clear of these trees on the side. So punch up. Once I get over the tree canopy, I'll turn back towards the camera a little bit better. Unintentional artsy fartsy shots. It's too bad I can't see it on the feed, but you know, whatever. Okay, we are above the trees, so we'll bring it back around. And then I want to do some flight mode testing if I'm able to. It's a little bit of a complex environment, just that there's telephone wires over top of this sod farm. This sod farm, these folks are very, very generous. They don't give me any trouble when it comes to flying my drone here. Super nice people. It's Brahms Lullaby Farm. It's just like acres of sod. So when you're talking about a drone review, it's the perfect spot to do this at. So I just want to send a special shout out to those folks. If they watch these, I doubt it. But if they do happen to catch this, I hope they know how much I appreciate them not giving me any issues while I fly my drone out here, because it's a beautiful environment to fly in. And of course, the lack of complicated obstacles around the area makes it very easy to do these drone reviews. So. Okay, I'm right above us here, or sort of, kind of right above us. I'm gonna bring it back down. We're gonna go through some of the intelligent flight modes, see how those work. And then we'll land her and talk about what we found here. I know this isn't the most exciting part of the review, but just trust me, it's gonna get better. It's flight characteristics. I mean, it's important to know this stuff, just because when you buy a drone, yeah, you want a nice camera on it, you want some bells and whistles on it for sure. But at the end of the day, you bought it to fly it. So if it doesn't fly well, what's the point? So yeah, let's go ahead and bring this in a little bit closer. And so I've played around with the intelligent flight modes a bit already. And you have to note something here. The camera angle needs to be between -25 and -75 degrees. Otherwise, it will not lock onto its target, whether you're doing subject tracking, which this is able to do, or if you're doing one of those intelligent flight paths, you need to have the camera tilted downward between 25 degrees and 75 degrees, or it will not work. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna have to bring this up a little bit. I'm gonna bring it over. Everything's reversed for me right now. And again, this is a little bit challenging just because of some of the stuff we do have where I've decided to set up. So I will do my best to sort of give you an idea of what these look like. But we're gonna go ahead and start with, I gotta stop my recording. There we go. We're gonna go ahead and start with the subject track. Why not? Let's bring our camera angle down to 25 degrees. We'll bring it a little closer. And then it's just as simple as you can see on the screen here. At least I think I'm recording. I am. Oops, that's my music. You can see on the screen here that all you have to do is tap that little plus that's on me, and it now highlights me as a subject it can track. We've already done some testing, myself and Sam Karp, for a video we did for the droning company on this. It doesn't do backwards tracking. So like if I walk at the drone right now, it won't adjust to follow me that way. It will try to point the camera down and keep me locked on, but as soon as I get beyond that 90-degree downward threshold, it will lose me and it won't turn the drone around to actually try to find me. It stops dead. So something to keep in mind, always be in front of the drone when you're subject tracking yourself or somebody else. Otherwise, it doesn't do too bad. And we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna shut up and show you what this does. So you can see here, I'm gonna switch from the video camera feed. Sorry, I got up in your grill there. I'm gonna switch from the video camera feed to the drone feed. How's it going? And you're gonna see me just sort of walk around, keep a relatively decent pace. And as I move away, it will actually start to follow me. I have to get a little further away from it, I suppose, or not. Maybe it's not following me. Maybe I put a setting wrong. Either way, I'm pretty happy. Oh yeah, there you go. It's starting to follow me now. So I'll come back around. Come back in front of the camera. There we go. That's good. I'm handsome. I'm beautiful. And we'll wait for this to be done. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't think it did follow me. So we'll take a look at that and see what happened there. I probably had a setting wrong. Okay. On top of choosing a target for the second test, we'll go ahead. You can also click or tap and drag, and it will highlight your target then too. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna see if I walk back into this grove back here, if it will follow me. Let's try it. Yeah, it is following me. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna stop it because it looks like it's getting close to a tree here. We'll pull back. Yeah, it lost me there. Definitely lost me there. So that's what I'm talking about with that backwards tracking. It doesn't actually actively backward track you in terms of if I walk towards the drone, it's not gonna move backwards to compensate. It's going to try to turn the drone, turn the camera angle downward to get a better look at me, but it won't actually move the drone backwards. And it's because there's no backwards obstacle avoidance. Like I said, there's no 360 obstacle avoidance on this drone, so you need to be mindful of that when you're using these features. So we'll go ahead and we will adjust the camera angle again. And we'll do the pull away shot. So I'm gonna select that. I'll tap on me as the target. Drone's angled at a good position. In the pull away shot, you can set your distance or your height for what you want the drone to do. Let's go ahead and let's keep it simple at, let's do 200 feet or 197 feet. So we'll press go on that. And the drone will slowly start to pull away from me. Again, no backward obstacle avoidance. So when you do this type of a shot, when you do the pull away, intelligent flight mode, remember that the drone will not dodge anything in its way. We started at like 45 feet or something like that, somewhere between 40 and 45 feet. That was gonna clear every tree down here. And as it's getting higher, it's even less in danger. So just keeps going backwards. It's at 100%. So when it's done, it will actually return back to you. So here it comes back. Excellent. And it's back where it needs to be. So not too shabby there. Let's look at some other ones we could possibly do here. Circle, spiral. Let's go ahead and look at the responsiveness of the circle mode. What I'm gonna say here is, because we have trees behind me, we've got power lines on the other telephone lines on the other side of this drone. We got some trees dotted over here. I might have to and probably will have to jump in and take control of this. We'll take a look at how easy that is or is not and what we need to do that. So let's go ahead, we'll do a circle. We're not gonna be able to do all these flight modes. I'm not gonna continue to put the drone at risk because we have a lot more we need to talk about with it. So we'll select me as our target and we'll press go. Okay, so it's starting at a nice slow clip here. It is picking up the pace a little bit. It's looking good, looking real good. It's keeping me in frame. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it because we are now getting towards a tree and we'll see how that looks once we get the drone back to the office. Overall, I'm not gonna do the other flight modes because what we have here is, let's do rocket. We'll do rocket, that'll be our last one. So we'll go ahead and pull up. Put the camera angle down to 25 degrees. We'll tap on me And we will, oh, we don't want circle, we want rocket. Okay. We'll go up to 200 feet again. I think that's probably the good call there. So we'll go ahead and press go. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna send the drone straight up. The camera angle is going to adjust as it goes upward. You'll see there that it's keeping me in frame by tilting the camera downward as it's moving upward. Everything's free and clear, there's nothing above it, so it can just go. We'll let this finish its path, see how it does. Yeah, it climbs really well. I'm not upset about the flight characteristics of this drone at all. It does a fantastic job when it comes to actual flight and navigating the airspace. We're at 80% of the flight path. And that's about it right there. Excellent. So 200 feet, not too bad. It's gonna come back down then after it's all done. And we're at about 25% battery. It did move backwards a bit. It's not coming down in the same exact position. So that's something to note, but I'm pretty sure that held on to me. So we're gonna go ahead and land the drone and come back talk about what we found with it. So that is the end of our flight characteristics portion of the review process on the Potensic Atom. What a mouthful. I was pretty pleased with the flight characteristics overall. Before we get into what I thought about the flight, I do want to give Potensic a huge shout out on the controller design. This is awesome. I've always talked about how other big box companies don't really do it right when it comes to the controller. In recent years, they've gotten better about it, but earlier models of those bigger box drones, you know which ones I'm talking about, they didn't have smart controller design. This puts the screen that you're using to monitor the feed on your drone right in the middle of the controller. It reduces neck strain while you're flying. It's very lightweight. I just love the design of this controller overall. So Potensic Atom, fantastic controller system. Potensic, hats off, absolutely. Take my hat off for you. Hats off on a fantastic controller. Love this, keep this up. This is awesome. Now, what I didn't think was awesome was the breakup that we saw during the flight of the drone. Now, that doesn't really get into the flight characteristics of the drone, but it is something that happens during the flight experience. I want to talk about that. Very, very disappointing with that breakup, that artifacting, whatever you want to call it, smudging is really what it was, where we just had the feed cut out, drop frames, and the artifacting, like I said, it's a light term to use the word artifacting on this. Not good at all. That needs to be fixed for sure, because if that's what we're getting while flying this drone, you can't reliably fly this even 100 feet away from you before you experience that issue. And while that is definitely an issue when you're flying beyond visual line of sight, which if you don't have the right regulations in place and waivers in place for that type of a flight, I strongly discourage it. But if you do, you can't really depend on this drone as it stands right now with that artifacting to fly safely beyond visual line of sight, because that breakup can cause some real problems when it comes to monitoring the drone's feed. It's also sort of speaking towards the range on this drone. I don't know that the range actually meets the snuff, or it's up to snuff with the build spec from Potensic Atom. We'll talk about that in a future video a little bit more. Now, I don't want to be too down on this drone, because for all of that negative, there's a lot of positive to be had in the flight characteristics of the Potensic Atom. Fantastic flyer when it comes to the handling, the responsiveness, and just reliability staying in the air. I mean, this thing held position perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better flight experience. This is on par with the best drones in the market. 100%, no doubt about it. If you're a beginner looking for a drone that you can rely on to stay in the air and navigate the airspace safely when you're flying within visual line of sight, proper visual line of sight, the Potensic Atom has what it takes for sure, and the responsiveness is second to none. Fantastic when it comes to the handling, responsiveness, all that good stuff. Now, as far as the intelligent flight modes go, I don't personally use intelligent flight modes all that often. However, the tests that we ran here, some of the tests that I ran with Sam Karp for a different video, for a different YouTube channel, fantastic. I really liked how intuitive the menu was. It wasn't too convoluted. It wasn't too weighed down with a bunch of different options and settings. It was literally, hey, how far do you want this thing to go? How high do you want this thing to go? You set the height, you set the distance, and it carried out the flight path that you had set for it, no problem. The subject tracking on this drone is also fantastic. It was able to keep me in frame reasonably well, considering this doesn't have obstacle avoidance, considering it doesn't have backwards tracking and dollying, and it just has this little 4K camera on the front. It was really impressive to me how it flew when it came to the intelligent flight modes for this drone. So again, hats off to Potensic. You really did something here when it comes to the handling of the drone and the intelligent flight modes. What did you think though? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up icon down below too. It helps me out a lot, helps get this video out into the algorithm to more viewers like yourself. If you really love this video and you love drone content shot by drones, about drones, and for drone pilots, my friend, this is the channel for you. Make sure you get subscribed if you haven't already, and while you're at it, hit the bell icon too. You'll get a notification every time I post a new video. Until next time, I'm Chris the Drone Geek. This is the Potensic Atom. We'll be back with more review videos on different aspects of this drone. See you later.
Yo, yo.